Hello and welcome to Behind the Lyrics, a series where I explain, Alex, what were you thinking when you wrote this particular song? Let's talk Pokemon. Pokemon Musical Bytes is just finished up. All the trainer songs are out there. I went with trainers and not Pokemon. Not because, Pokemon can't talk, they can just go, "Arr!" or say their names depending on the source you see them in. It's just that the human trainers, their dynamic personalities, and their stories interested me more than the legendary Pokemon. If I come back to Pokemon Musical Bytes, I might focus on the legendary Pokemon, who knows? Anyway, let's get started with N.
I dreamed a dream one day, I'd free my friends and they would live.
At first I kind of wanted to go for a punk pop sound for N, kind of in the style of Nathan Sharp, but the instrumental wouldn't have been the best fit for that kind of music. So instead we got more kind of a prog rock sound. The bloopiness of the instrumental and the complexity of the melody meant that following said melody exactly would have been insane. Which meant that for the verses, there was going to be a lot of patter followed by the da-da-da hook. Now, in almost any other scenario, N would be the young boy tenor ingenue main character of the show who's like, I want a great, perfect world, and it's gonna be my dream to see it. But here, he's the antagonist because, hey, the entire world of Pokemon is basically built around using Pokemon, who are evolved sentient animals, to do fighting, fashion shows, etc. Hence the line, humans made them industrialized. It's not literally, they made Pokemon. It's more like they made an entire industry built around the exploitation of Pokemon. So what happens when you take that little ingenue after he's poured his heart out to you and you challenge him to a Pokemon battle anyway? Well, first of all, you get this face, which is the face of a very unamused leader of Team Plasma. And then you get the high notes after all those I believe my perfect world can be bits to represent his lofty ideals. Because in this version of canon, N is the Prince of Ideals rather than the Prince of Truths. I kind of blended them together because, hey, giving lip service to both outcomes is always nice.
Industrialized. All I want is to save their lives.
Guzma.
Team Skull, we go slash to that thing. Roll out with no compromising.
Lyrics for Guzma have existed in one form or another since I first heard the song, which was, I think, around when Sun and Moon came out. I fell in love with the song. I listened to it a lot, but I could never get down lyrics I liked until I decided Pokemon Musical Bytes was going to be a thing, so I sat down and actually wrote them down. It overall didn't change all that much from my original designs for it. I think I just added the Team Skull chorus so that Guzma could have some time to take a breath. Team Skull and Pokemon Sun and Moon are, for all intents and purposes, gangbangers. Ineffective gangbangers, but gangbangers nonetheless. And I figured the best way, at least musically speaking, to get disenfranchised youths into that thug life was through very aggressive rap, more specifically, one of the world's most one-sided rap battles ever caught on film, since the protagonist does not sing. Now, I don't know if Guzma's 20 or if he's 40. I don't think anyone in Team Skull really knows either. He's just one of the boys to them. So basically, this is how do you do fellow kids as a rap battle, mixed with posting about how badass bug Pokemon are. But if it's to be played with any irony whatsoever, it just wouldn't work. So instead of doing that, in the bridge I just focused on Guzma's desire to be actually recognized for his strength. He's tired of being overlooked, and this is how he expresses it. There are worse coping mechanisms. Cynthia.
Strength spoken in myth, foretold by the glitter.
Cynthia was actually one of the hardest songs to write because it has two very distinct dance-like rhythms, neither of which I was all that familiar with. This kind of got reflected in the lyrics and dialogue into changing the dance and keeping up no matter what the choreography. Because if I could do it, the protagonist surely must be able to, right? Cynthia is probably my favorite of the champions across the Pokemon series, partially because of her design and partially because of her personality. She loves Pokemon battling, she loves a challenge, she's really good at what she does, but at the same time, she's going around helping you make sure that you grow as a Pokemon trainer and is really, really excited for you when you win. It's this genuine pride and genuine desire to help people grow into, for all intents and purposes, a worthy dance partner that fueled the lyrics behind Cynthia's song once I finally got the rhythm down. I put in the reference to Pokemon Go because I thought, Cynthia's on the road a lot, she probably meets a whole lot of other trainers. That reminds me of when I was playing Pokemon Go back when it was really popular. I'd go down to the capital and there'd be 50 people all on their phones catching Pokemon. Cynthia would definitely be the type to help new trainers out in Pokemon Go, dropping lures, organizing raid battles, letting people know where rare Pokemon are, and then taking their gyms, because she is 100% Team Valor. Cynthia was the song I finished writing last because let this be a lesson to you kids. Writing natural grace and talent and having it come across as not condescending is actually pretty hard.
If you're worthy.
Zinnia.
In the ancient days,
I know that Juno wrote his own version of the Zinnia lyrics, but I chose to focus mine on the actual backstory of the Draconic people that Zinnia tells you at the Sky Pillar. Which meant futzing around with the order of events a little bit, since technically you fight Zinnia after you capture Rayquaza. Since this story and the desire to protect her people are basically what drives Zinnia throughout all of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I figured this was the best choice to show her character through the song. Which is that weird mixture of ballad and character song, since it does feature belting and showing off vocal range, but it also goes really fast at some points. It is a really tricky song to pull off, and Alice did a fantastic job. This is the longest song of the Pokemon Bytes series because it didn't feel right to just tell the story. Like with Once Upon a Time and Undertale, the title song from Undertale the musical, it just didn't feel right unless I shared how the character, Zinnia in this case, felt about it. For all intents and purposes, Zinnia is on a suicide mission. She'd be going to fight something in space, and that's not great for the human body. But that's not Zinnia's concern. Her concern is saving the world. So she acts, fights, moves, even talks with the passion of someone thinking, yeah, I might not make it out of this. You gonna help me out or not? Also, I am aware that there are multiple dragons and dragon types in the Pokemon world. For a people who worship one particular legendary dragon and base their entire culture around it, I would say that calling Rayquaza the dragon is fine. Don't at me on the pronunciation.
the sky is falling, but I had a plan, or I did before you.
Versus Red.
Once upon a time, I passed every test, walked the victory.
I first got the idea for writing Versus Red, the original version, after seeing Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions in concert. It's a fantastic concert and gave me ideas for several of the songs they played there. But Versus Red stood far and away as the best out of them to me because it brought me back instantly to that moment in my childhood when I realized I was facing the pinnacle of what I did back in Pokemon Blue. Yes, I had the blue version first. To me, Red will always be the second most powerful trainer in the Pokemon series. The first, of course, being the player character, being you. Because throughout the whole game, you basically do all of what Red does, and even a little bit more, depending on the game. Knowing this, I wrote Red's lyrics, even though he doesn't really talk, from the perspective of someone who realizes, yeah, it was a total slog to become the champion to get everything done in that game, but I will never be able to catch up. Because there's always going to be something more telling me to prove myself. And while the player characters can, because they're across multiple regions, Red doesn't really have that luxury. It was a big hit and I wanted to revisit the song, but I wanted to make it more of a duel and a duet between the two protagonists, so that it wasn't a total endurance run for Red like it was last time for me. So I once more assigned personality to a silent protagonist with Gold. I know technically his name is Ethan, but Trainer Ethan Wants to Battle doesn't work as well in parallel to Trainer Red Wants to Battle. The perfect parallel to a world-weary but still unparalleled in battle Red would be a cocky kid who wants to prove himself the best because that's what anime and game protagonists do. They seek out every challenge just to prove they can overcome it. Dragon's Den was paired up with Versus Red in Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions, and I think it works really well here. So I use them as sort of dueling wrestling intros. People strutting up to the arena, bragging about, yeah, here's what I did. What are you gonna do? Fight me. And I choose to leave the winner of the fight between Gold and Red ambiguous, because that's not the point of the song. Whee!
There's no right or wrong. Trainer Red wants to battle.
Thank you for listening to me explain my thought process behind writing these Pokemon songs. If you'd like to go back and listen to them, the link for that is right over here. If you want to check out more of what I've done, here is what YouTube thinks that you would like. If you like what I do, make sure to subscribe to see more of it, and if you want to support me, here is my Patreon. Looking forward to producing and maybe explaining, maybe, even more content for you. Thank you for watching, Internet Man, away!